Why is my mom not here? Why is my daddy not here? Why is my dad raising me on my own? Why is my mom raising me on my own? The children have a lot of questions that sometimes they get answers when they grow up in life, and some are very unfortunate they don't get the answers, and they feel bitter. Sometimes they blame themselves for maybe the breakup in the marriage. They feel, oh, is it because of me? That is why mommy is not here. That is why daddy is not here, And look at all those psychological effects it has on children, social, economical impacts it has on them. They don't want to relate to people. Some of them keep to themselves. We looked at all that, and even sometimes they don't want to even do networking, relate to people. They just, stay in their own cocoon, and blame themselves on everything. We also looked at the effect it might have on their academics. In school, most children like that are the one that there's always a call for them to see their parent. Maybe they are being violent in school, they are being aggressive and all that. We look at all that, and then we look at what can we do to help situations like that. How can we keep families together? These are things we've been looking at for so long, and it boils down to what we've been treating for the past 2 months, which is on the male gender, the father in the house. One is, if you cannot look after this child, do not bring this child to this world. And if, to God be all the glory, you are able to bring a child to this world, be involved in that child's life. Even if you are not married to the mom, even if you don't want to live with the mom, for whatever reason, you still have to be involved in the child's life. And I also gave an example of a story of a man who was in prison, and from the prison he was involved in the daughter's life, even helping her with her homework and her exams. That is being involved, calling them, talking to the child. They know, oh, my daddy is there somewhere, but my daddy talks to me. They feel proud, and if whenever you can show up. And some people even found themselves being single parent, even though they are still married. We have people who are married, but yet they are single parent, probably because their spouse is far away. The mother is in UK and the father is in Nigeria, or the other way around. So even though you are married, you still live in the life of a single parent, and those things have effects on children. So the conclusion is, let us try as much as we can to be involved in the life of our children, even if we cannot be there physically. Let's be there for them emotionally, financially, psychologically, talking to them, advising them, letting them talk to us back, listening to them, know what they are going through, what their problem is, and finding solution. And also another solution that came up was that get people to be involved in the life of children like that. For instance, if you are a single mom, get male figures, probably from the church, that you can, maybe a youth teacher, a youth leader who loves to work around children. Get them involved in the life of your children. Get uncles and aunties within the family, that can support them. That's another one. And we also say that families also should not wait until they're being asked before they get involved. If you know of your sister, if you know of your brother who is struggling as a single parent, get involved. How can I help? How can I get involved? How can I assist? Let's not wait until things get really, really bad and they're like, oh, I need help. I don't understand what's happening with my child. And the point of that, we looked at, okay, and the question popped up. Thanks for joining, Pastor Stephen. I see you. Sister Tayo, thanks for joining. iPhone, I see is a Mrs. Thanks for joining, ma. And another iPhone, thanks for joining, ma, on video. Sister Anna, that's Z. Thanks, daughter. Sister Anna, Mommy El Betel, Ogosele, AC. Thank you all for joining. I'm just doing a wrap up of what we talked about last week. And then a question pop up during the discussion last week, which is, do I choose myself or my child in marriage? Because I don't want to end up being a single parent. Do I now stay in the marriage and go through whatever I'm going through, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, whatever abuse it is, whatever you are going through in the marriage, and you're like at the point of giving up and you're struggling? Do I leave or do I stay? And then if I choose to stay, why am I staying? Is it because of my child? Or is it because of my own sanity? And that is what we're looking at tonight. And tonight's program, I'm going to need everybody on board. Please, please, please. I've got my own idea of what it should be. We all have different opinions, different ideas of what should be done. So the forum is open. I want people to raise up your hand if you want to add to it. Let's just talk. It's a deliberation. I can't teach you or tell you what to do in your situation, because life is diverse, situations are diverse. You only know where it hurts. So, but then from our sharing and discussing, people will be educated. People will have idea of what to do if they find themselves in such situation. So please, anyone at all, there is no number one, number two, there is no special guest. Everybody is a special guest tonight. So anyone at all who want to talk about it, in a marriage where you are not happy and you're thinking of leaving the marriage, do you choose yourself or do you choose your child? Anyone, please. On Facebook, if you, I know you can't speak from Facebook, but you can send a text. I'll read it out and everybody can hear. If you are somewhere you cannot talk, send text, please. Okay, thank you, iPhone. I read that. And iPhone sent a text message which says, I believe a marriage should only come to an end if it's detrimental to the child, unless the abuse puts the partner also at risk. That's the point. Thank you very much, Ma, for that. I'm going to read that again. iPhone says, I believe a marriage should only come to an end if it's detrimental to the child, unless the abuse puts the partner also at risk. So are we saying if only the child is at risk, that is when the woman should end the marriage? There's a comma there, I'm not very sure what that is. Detrimental to the child, unless the abuse puts the partner also at risk. So is she ending the marriage because of her child? If you can clarify that, Mama. Anyone else who wants to speak? Mommy El Bethel, Sister Betty, Sister Tayo, St. Mary Aladura Church. Women, this is actually really for us, mostly for us. I know men too, but mostly it's for us women. Do we stay in a marriage where we are not happy, where we are probably losing it mentally for the sake of our children, just like our mothers used to do? Yeah, I think that's what brought the question. I said our mothers, when you ask them, why are you going through all this, why didn't you just leave daddy all these years? And they will tell you, oh, it's because of my children, I'm staying in this marriage because of my children. That's what brought the question. So as women, please let us speak at, who would you choose? Would you choose yourself, your sanity, or would you choose your child in a marriage where you are not happy? Okay, iPhone is added more to that comment, which is the main goal of leaving the marriage, I believe, should be to protect and raise the child in a protective and healthy environment. So if that isn't possible, then yes, you can leave the marriage. Thank you very much, ma. Anyone else wants to come up? Big Chief, I see you're unmuted.
No, I'm just, I came early. I'm just joining. Good evening, no? So I'm just listening. I don't even know what the question is now.
The question is, in a marriage where you are not happy and you're deliberating on leaving the marriage and you're also considering your child. So the question is, do I choose myself or do I choose my child in the marriage where you are not happy?
What is the meaning of happiness? Can we wake up and pick and choose? Today I'm happy, tomorrow I'm unhappy. So if
when we talk about
tomorrow you go.
No. When we talk about that, what I mean about that is what I've been talking for like 40 minutes, 20, 30 minutes now, is when you're already losing your sanity, when there is different kind of abuse, and you're at the point of breakdown. So do you now stay in that marriage because of your child? Or do you live for your own sanity? What are you choosing?
I don't know where to start this from. We have wrong expectations of marriage. Marriage is work, according to Catholic Church. It's a church. So we are expecting to go inside marriage to wear pajamas and dance in TikTok. That is not. Marriage is complete work. So when you see the work and you say, I'm not happy, no, you expect the work. Then when the work comes, you understand, you will never say, I'm happy or I'm not happy. In the 50s, we were not talking about happy. Now, every day, everybody's happy. They say my truth and your truth. So we don't even know what the truth is again. Marriage is work. There are moments where you'll be happy, both the man and the woman. There are moments where you find it challenging. We have to know how to work through it. There is no happy stay or go.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Sister Betty says, I will not stay in the marriage, but would make sure my child or children comes with me. So Sister Betty is choosing herself and our child. And then there is someone, iPhone again says, it depends on the circumstances, as in whether there is a benefit that the person is staying. Therefore, for example, maybe for their paper, so they decide, oh, I'm going to stick to this marriage. But then if you say his favor is conditional and it's for his time, when the person get their paper, they will run away. And then if the abuse or situation gets worse, of course, the person has to leave. Thank you very much, ma'am. Any more contributions?
Yeah. Good evening. I want to make a quick contribution.
Thanks for joining, Brother Ade.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I think this is very simple. Like my daddy just said now, marriage is a work and it's an ongoing process. You have to understand yourself. But I want to believe by the time it gets to some stage that the woman is contemplating to leave, that means she has gotten it to some fuller level that she cannot bear. It's not like we should bear in mind, it's not like she has not been bearing it. Well, she has brought it to a level that she cannot. If anybody that has experience of women or men that have been abused in marriage and they have to leave, would understand why why leaving is just a situation. And then I think that person, when it gets to the where a level of tolerance is different, some women you will just see little and say, I want to leave. But whatever makes that woman want to leave, I think she's excusable. Now, coming to the child, because she is the one suffering. When you're suffering abuse, like the context you gave, Mrs. Adeniji, like when somebody is being abused, it's psychological, it's emotional, she's dead inside. For that, just let her leave if she cannot bear it anymore. Now, on the side of the child, don't forget that whoever that man is that is making that woman get abused, that kind of abuse will also fall on the child at one stage or the other. It's almost automatic. Even if the man manages and try, there was even the fact that the child is hearing that his mother is being abused. That is it alone. And some men would abuse the child as well in father-child situation as well. They were abused. So it's better. The best person that can look after a child. Yes, we know there will be gaps when the father is not there, when the father figure is not there. But the best person that can look after that child is the mother. We men, I call us formalities. We have mental and psychological effect on child, but the best person that can look after a child is a mother. So it's always best. If she cannot handle it again, let's just be logical. That child is also being abused in a way. For that woman to have seen it and said, I'm going. So it is better the two of them just leave it. Even if she says, oh, I want to leave my child with him. The motherly love is going to be lost. Don't let's forget that. And don't let's forget that man is still the man he is. It's not going to be an abusing father in the context of father-child relationship. So it's always best for the woman to live with her child. It is safer. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now, you said something about, let me rephrase something. Now, it's not just about the woman living. Sometimes men get abused, even though we don't talk about that so much. And at times it's even the men that are like.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much for saying that. Whenever I hear abuse, you assume that it's the man that is abusing. If some men open their mouth, the program will close.
Oh God.
Yeah, I said something about men being abused too, but I just mentioned it because the context we have today is women and their children.
Yeah, that's why I said I want to rephrase it.
Okay.
So it's about, do I choose myself or my child? So it could be the male, it could be the female. So even as a man, I hear some stories and they're like, I can't take it anymore. I'm losing myself, And so the man also can decide, I want to leave. Now, from the discussion we had yesterday, there was an explanation that was given, which was from a survey or a test that was carried out on 2 gay couples. And that is from one of the points you gave, Brother Ademola, which is that the mother is more capable to look after the child. And then this test was carried out between 2 male gay couples who have a child, and they realized that the man can easily adapt to give what the woman gives the children. They can easily do the emotional parts and the nurturing and all that. But the woman cannot change to give the masculine part what the father can give the child. A lot of women can, actually women can't do that. That is what the survey of the research, that's what the conclusion is. So I from what that research says, and from 1 or 2 things I have seen, I personally don't think it's only the woman that is the best person to look after the child. We've seen women that are not women. We've seen mothers that are not mothers. We've seen mothers that you wonder, how did you even give birth? We've seen mothers who have children and throw them into the dustbin. Would you call that a mother? So let's open that a little bit more. iPhone says,
can I quickly answer that? It's a brief and simple answer. Hello?
Go on.
Yeah, it's a brief and simple answer. You see, there's always exception in any situation. In that kind of a thing, I think it all in that kind of in every marriage, it depends on the man, the kind of man, and the kind of woman that is saddled with that kind of. Of course, we have men that are like women. We have some women that they have a strong man, like Sister Dupe that is talking, like very good example. That is a man and a woman in one. So it always depends on the kind of woman, and it always depends on the kind of man. But averagely, more generously, most popularly, women are like they multitask. They are 3 in 1. That's why remember I said there will be lapses for the father figure. But on the average, we're talking in general now. If they ask you to pick one, if you're in a dilemma, and they ask you pick one of it, who is best? It doesn't mean that we can't have the father that will be more like a mother. We have irresponsible mother, like you said, but it's always because it's on the average. What is most popular? When we make submissions like this, it doesn't mean we are saying, oh, one person is just the best and it's ultimate. We're just giving it the highest probability. And the highest probability, because mothers are more compassionate. You can't take it from them, except 1 or 2 some mothers that are exceptional. Mothers are more compassionate. They are more multitasking. They are more tolerant. So we can, on the average, on the ordinary, let me say, we should just give it to the woman. It doesn't mean men can also fit in the gap. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read a comment from iPhone, which says, a man can take care of a child by himself if he's willing to put in the maximum effort and love and dedication needed. And then she also says, I agree. It depends on the man or the woman. My mother done a good job by herself, but even still, my cousins and uncles add that masculine side to me. God bless you, Wilma, which is what I said, that uncles and aunties, if we see any of our siblings who are single parents, for whatever reason, let us jump in and help. Let's jump in. It goes a long, long way. Now, Pastor Steven is asking a question, what are we calling abuse? And we have different type of abuse. We have emotional abuse. We have verbal abuse. We have domestic abuse. We have
sexual abuse.
We have sexual abuse. Thank you very much. We have emotional abuse. We have financial abuse.
We have financial abuse. I was going to say, yeah.
Which a lot of people overlook, and we think we don't really take the importance of it. But it happens too much, actually, in a lot of marriage, But then Big Chief said something about putting the work. Now, and you also said something. You can put the work so much, and it gets to a breaking point when you're like, enough is enough. Now, especially when you begin to feel being used. Nobody wants to feel like that, When you begin to feel being used and feeling less of yourself, you put the work, you put the prayer, you put the counseling, you put the talking, you put everything into it, and the work is not working. What do you do then? What do you do? And you may say, oh, baby, it's not beating you physically, so why do you want to leave? There's some even verbal abuse can bring a lot of detrimental to you. Somebody wants to say something?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Question, please. I have a friend, and the wife was provoking the guy. She was asking for the beating because she was arranging her exit. And the more he was not beating her, the angrier she got. She could pour drink on his body, break lamp on his head. And the more he was not going out to cheat, the angrier he made her wild. But when you look at them on the outside, it looks like if he had done something, the world would say, oh, no matter what happened, he shouldn't touch her. But she was setting it up for her exit. And he did not touch her. She still left at the end of the day. What would you do in that situation?
Anybody wants to answer, Big Chief?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. I don't understand the question. Sorry, it's Matsumara.
God bless you. Thanks for joining. Which question? The
question is, there's this couple, and the wife wanted an exit. But now she needs an excuse because of our modern society we live, quote and unquote. So first, she will withdraw night duties from the man, hoping he will go outside. The more he didn't go outside, the angrier the woman became. Until it became physical. She was provoking him physically just to do something. So if he had done something, she would exaggerate the fall and somersault and scream and shout, and everybody would say, no matter what, he shouldn't touch her. In that situation, what do you do?
I suppose the question to ask is, who do they have children?
Okay.
Yes, they have children. They have a son.
Okay. So
they have a son.
So each parent has parental responsibility towards a child, and either one's decision shouldn't affect the other. So if you feel that a relationship is becoming toxic, so much so that it's impacting on the home environment, oftentimes when assessment comes through to social services, for example, they then would ask, well, if she was doing this, what did you do as the protective parent? So sometimes when they say she was asking for it, what does that mean? What did you do? What steps did you take? For example, the man could have asked for support. He could have flagged it up with support services to make sure that, is there something going on with her? There are issues in this relationship.
Support from who?
There is a lot of support out there in terms of relationships between adults. So if something's happening at home and you feel, do you know what, she's getting me to the point where I'm getting so angry that I'm going to respond or react in front of my children, you would expect that one of them would be the reasonable one and will take the reasonable step, either to step out and look for the support or try and resolve whatever it is that's going on. So it's not, there are a lot of people, and sometimes when women react or when men react, because it's not only women that go through domestic abuse. When, a woman is hitting her husband, for example, there usually is some sort of reason behind it. This is what research says anyways, either the way that they were parented themselves, that's how they grew up. It was okay. Their own parents' relationship. Daddy slaps mommy all the time. It's absolutely fine. He didn't kill mommy. Mommy was all right in the end. They're still married 50 years later. Did mom have the support in place? Are there people around that mommy can talk to? So sometimes there are things that they've been through.
I don't like
Big Chief, please let her finish.
I don't
please.
like.
Let her finish.
It's a wrong example. You're projecting something in the air. It's good both ways. That's what I'm trying to say.
Big Chief, let her finish, please.
I suppose what I'm getting at really is that oftentimes there's a reason why people behave in a certain way. Because oftentimes people meet, they have a good relationship. At some point, something happens. What exactly is the root cause of what's happening? And, as you're saying that, she was trying to push him out, but he still didn't do anything, which is the right thing that he did. He sort of kept it in. But then sometimes when that's going on for such a long time, you then have it like a pressure cooker. He's been holding it all in, and then it just escalates suddenly. And you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. He's not that sort of person. And then he's arrested by the police. But then all of these times when all of these things have been happening, he needs to go and find support for himself, for his home, and for his son's sake. And usually that's what they look at. Yeah.
Thank you. God bless you for that.
Yeah,
Ogosele, before you come in, please. Ogosele, can you speak? He's been raising his hand up.
Okay.
They should go for therapy, and the man should make a move by going to the human rights to call the wife into order. And then from there, from their own statement, they will know the type of therapy they will give them.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And it's like maybe the man moving out and like getting in contact with the social worker and advice as well. Maybe to go for citizen advice, guru, I don't know. But that's what I feel. But man need to touch the woman to beat her. Or I've come across something like that in life. Not me, but somebody told me. And I said, you should go for the therapy, like going to the human rights to put the husband in, to call the husband into action, So that's what I think. There's no need to go to the police or anything verbally, because when you cause trouble and it goes beyond realization, it's very difficult for two of them to come back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Yes. So we've had two different opinions. But Ademola.
Okay, thank you. I would just like to be very practical and very realistic. You see, when a woman gets to the level that my daddy has described, yeah, she has gotten into the brim. See, when there is no love, when a woman has done so much like that, that one thing is reflecting. She doesn't love that man again anymore, and she wants something. So the idea of going for therapy support is this therapy or support going to put love back in that woman's heart? This is somebody that is targeting something. Sir. Is therapy going to come and say, okay, woman, love this man again? This is somebody that has made up her mind. So let's be very practical. You see, we men always say something.
Thank you.
I stand to be corrected. If a man doesn't love a woman, he can still be managing, and that woman will not know. But if a woman doesn't love a man again, let that man give her all the sex. Or give her. I'm sorry to use the raw language. Give her. If that woman doesn't love you anymore as a man, you can give her everything. She won't want you. She will not want you anymore. So, sir, the truth about it is, when a woman is behaving like that, you can give her space. It all boils down to giving her space and leaving her. Give her. If you still love her, just leave her. See if she will come back for you. If she comes back for you, that means she's gone and seen herself, and she's had time to recover. Or she might never come back to you again. But what you need at that point is to excuse yourself from me, because she's going to put you in trouble, because you are human. You're not Holy Spirit. One day you will lose it. And they will say he beat a woman.
Thank you very much.
Anything you say that this is what she's been doing, they won't listen to you. They say you beat a woman. What kind of a man beats a woman? Therapy and advice bureau or support will not help at that time.
Thank you, sir.
That's what you say. You shouldn't have touched her. So just walk away. Let that man walk away for now, and see if the woman is going to come back to her, or if she's not going to come back. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Now, can you mute yourself, TKZ? I'm going to read comments from iPhone. TKC, can you mute yourself, please? Let me see if I can mute them. Thank you. Now, iPhone is saying here, the man in that situation is a wise man, because hitting her would have caused major issues for himself, and would have definitely affected the child. No matter what someone is going through under the circumstances, You never hit. You should never hit your partner. TK23, I am muting you. You are muting. Your background is noisy, please. You should never hit your partner and what she's going through, because it probably could have been sorted with a conversation. And then she further says, talking can always solve problems in a relationship, because even if it ends, it can end peacefully and still look after the child properly. Now, let's not get out of the context of today. It's not just about you, but all about your child as well. Me or my child. Now, the example Big Chief brought in, it's is a simple one, you know. But what Sister Turayo is saying is, before it got to that level, there were steps that could have taken. And the best thing is, do not touch the woman, which were some examples. She said that they will ask you, what did you do? Now, what are the steps you did? She's talking from experience of what the law is and from example of what she has seen, you know, in situations like that. So she's talking as a professional. Okay. So in situation like that, what did you do? Such question will be asked. So now, give and take, the relationship ends. What do you do with your child? That's my question. So it's not about just what the woman did. The woman is trying to beat. The woman is trying to make you violent. Now it's over. Obviously, it's over. What do you do next? Do you live with your child? Do you stay because of your child? That is the bone of contention here. Anybody wants to go up? Thank you for joining, Sister Kemzi.
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, in the situation where there is an abuse, the one Big Chief gave us an example, and it's obvious that relationship is over.
Yeah.
So at the point where you will live in, either you hit back or you don't hit back, do you stay or do you want to keep managing for the sake of your children? And if you are leaving, do you live with your child, with your children, or what do you do?
I have an answer, ma.
When next time, raise your hand so that we'll give other people options.
Okay, sorry, I'm not on video, sorry.
Yeah, but you can still raise hand up. What's it called? With the icon.
Oh, I don't have it here.
All right, go on then.
Okay, I think there's always a principle that the law looks at the best interest of the child. If both parents don't want to be selfish and they want the best for their child, you know who can look after the child better. If the man feels he can look after the child better, knowing the kind of wife he has, or the woman knows this man cannot even cook, or he does not even have time. So in that kind of situation, don't be too bothered about, oh, I want to go with my child because it's my child, I love my child. Look out for the best person that can look after the child and leave it at that. So if it's the wife that's the better person, leave it for her. If it's a man, leave it for her.
Thank you very much. Ogosala, you wanted to contribute?
Yeah. First of all, the caller that mentioned about his friend and the woman currently, he got me wrong, because in this context, if we are arguing, you have to consider law. Because we are just, how can I say, we're just guessing. And on the child or children, the law, the court, we have to look for the interest of the child. Maybe the child will like to go, to stay with the dad, or will like to go to the mom. They are vulnerable. So I did them in the law. So that's why I know. We are just guessing to say maybe the boy should go to his mother. What if the boy doesn't like the mom? We can't force him to go with.
That's no part of best interest.
Sorry?
So if he doesn't like his mom or his dad, that's still part of best interest principle. Okay. That's one of the criteria that you use to choose who is better for the child. Because if the child is saying, I don't want to go with daddy, and you're not saying, or I don't want to go with mommy, and you're not saying you must go with mommy. We're not choosing the best interest. These are the things that the court should look at. So we're still talking about the best interest. If the boy says he doesn't like either of them.
But Damola,
you are just talking about court now because you are at first instance you are not adding it. We can't just be saying things on those who are I won't say ignorance of the law, But you will have we have to consider the interest of the child, and any situation where mom and dad are not agreement, there's a separation. So there are some procedures you have to go through before you come to the idea that the baby will go with the mommy or with the daddy. We have to allow law to, let's bring it into the law, whatever we are discussing to now. So for some people who hasn't got the knowledge of maybe there's a separation, there has to be, counselorship, stage by stage, step by step. At an instance, when such a thing happens, mom and dad are not in agreement. One wants to leave, the other wants to stay. You have to apply law.
Really, thank you very much, ma'am.
The court the social services will first of all entertain to know who is to go with the baby or who is the baby. So let's apply law. Whatever we are saying, some people don't know up to that.
Thank you very much, Ogosele. God bless you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Sister Moturaya, your hand is up.
Yeah, I think what Mommy was trying to explain is just the court process. A lot of families, parents separate from one another, but the best outcome for the child would be for them to be able to come to an arrangement of, you will have the children here, I will have the children at this time, this is how I will support you. If they can't agree, it will go to the family court. Somebody would make an application to the family court, either the man or the woman or a family member. Somebody will make an application, and then if the local authority are involved, which is like the council, if they're involved with the family, oftentimes they would write directly to the council to say, can you complete a Section 7 report? And they will state specifically what they want you to look at. And essentially what the Section 7 report is just reporting back on the wishes of the children, their thoughts, their feelings about who they would like to live with, who they want contact with, their relationship with their parents. If parents cannot agree on ways forward, how do we feel in your assessment of the family and working with the family? And in the best interest, just like one of our daddies said, in the best interest of the child, what do you feel about who should have custody of the children and who should have contact with the children? And it's quite a long report. It's often that a lot of people don't want to write it because obviously somebody is bound to get upset about it because either parents are fighting over the children. So whichever way you write it, it's always difficult for somebody else to read it, one of the parents to read it. But oftentimes you'll ask the children directly. Sometimes they would appoint a guardian for the child and say, if the local authority are not involved. So it's CAFCAS, they're called CAFCAS, and they'll come to the children. They'll assess the family environment. They'll see children with the parents. They'll see children on their own. And then they'll put all of that into the report and then take it to court. And then the court decides, the judge decides on what should happen. And then there'll be an order in place, which is then legally binding, and parents have to follow through with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Big Chief, before I call you to speak, I want us to go back on the main topic. We have not actually really answered that question to my satisfaction, which was the question Sister Kemsi asked last week. Who do I choose, myself or my child?
My child.
Okay, why would you choose your child, and how do you choose your child?
Well, is it disagreement, both couples?
For whatever reason you want to leave, or you thinking I want to leave, I want to stay. Do you want to stay because of your child, or do you want to leave because of yourself?
Because if the fault comes from the dad, I would rather live with my child because of abusing. Constant argument might lead to fighting, and then I will not like to fight. Argument might lead to fighting, and then yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I would like to leave. If I have an option, I will live with my child because I won't stay in abusive, marriage.
Okay, thank you, ma. And anyone else want to? Big Chief, do you still want to come on the topic, not outside the topic? Moturaya, please.
On this topic.
Yes.
Am I on? Or? On this topic specifically, my own personal opinion, I do not support any form of separation, and I do not support any form of abuse, both from the male or the female. So surprisingly, I've been drawn to talk about these things, but I didn't want, as the topic is going, it's not what I support at all. I don't see why two people who love themselves will carry their hands against each other and now start thinking about how to take care of their children. Then something is wrong.
Okay, now something has now happened, Big Chief.
Any of this, they should stay together.
Big Chief, whether you like it or not, it happens and it will continue to happen. And now it has happened. Yes. And for whatever reason, this person, either male or female, cannot cope anymore. So do you continue to bear, because I don't want to leave, I want to stay in my marriage, I don't want the stigma of being single and stay there to protect my children?
I will stay in my marriage.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's it.
And there are some things that I cannot say on here. There are some things I cannot say on here for that. So I will leave it to, but I will stay to the end.
Thank you very much. Sister Rennie, you can come on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, it's Brother Rennie. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So it's a tricky one when two people in love decide to live. Now, when you bring kids into the world, that's a different dimension. The separation, even when we think it's in the best interest of yourself or for the kid, at the end of the day, the kids suffer when we have kids involved in separation. Just like what Big Chief said, that's not something that would really want to support, but you said it has happened, and what should we do? There is nothing more like having a honest conversation. I have a friend who just went through this, and he said the wife wasn't healthy, and she said that the dad should have the kids to take care of them, right? So when you're faced with a situation like this, I know someone earlier said that should be the best interest of the children. What can we do to support the children in situations like this? So they need to put those grievances beside them and behind them and look forward to the interest of the children. How do we look for the greater good? Because to be honest, back where we come from, we all tend to want to be selfish. If I keep these kids, I'll use this kid to punish you.
I was going to ask that question. Yes.
You don't get this. So that selfish interest keeps coming up every now and then. But if they can sit back, relax, and talk this thing over and how to go about the situation, the best interest of the children has to come in before any other thing.
Thank you very much for that. Sister Kamzi, do you want to come up for 1 second? Is the question being treated for you? Sister Kamzi, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, good evening. Yes, I heard what everyone said. Obviously, our opinions differ, but I don't think maybe the men understand the type of abuse that we're talking about. It's not physical abuse. It could be financial, it could be emotional. So if there's no physical, there's no mark. Doesn't mean there's no bruise. Do you understand? So, yeah, like I said, everyone's got their own opinion. But yes, the question has been answered. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I just say something?
Yes, ma.
Yeah. I've got a friend, a lady friend. I've been the one trying to settle their matters for them because I've been having a dream that if a husband should leave the house, no, let me forget about that. But it's not good for the husband to leave. And because I don't want them to separate, like to advise my friend to say, move out of the house, send your husband out. I won't be part of it. I just want to settle them out, which I've been doing for the past many years. They are still together, but the fighting is still there. Now, the way I've been advising them to, be patient, not to argue, not to fight in the midst of their children. I would say children. So, and what happens is that those children have been noticing how their dad have been behaving. So I always tell my friend to say, don't say anything. Just keep quiet. You can move away from the room or from the parlor, change where you are and get seated there. So she has been doing it, but those children, children are very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
They've been studying their parents, even up to the boys that they are now up there, the younger ones, they're about 8 years old, but they have further 4 ones. So those children, when their mom is going, taking them to school, then they will say, I noticed my dad, I noticed our dad do this, I noticed that. So I will say, just tell them that there's nothing, they are just talking about Nigeria. So the boys and the other of the siblings, they now very frightened because if it's only them with their dad at home, the man is always look that place. But their mom hasn't been like that. So each time they are going home from school now, some of them can go home from school. They will say, I hope my dad is not in. I hope I is not in. Know that their mom have been telling them what their dad has been doing to her. But because of their sensitivity, they knew what has been going on. Now they are in support of their mom, about 6 of them. They are now in support of their mom. Despite my advice, then the lady will say, I've been doing it. I don't know what else to do. There was a time he got called from his ex-girlfriend. Maybe that one is coming here. I said, forget about that. Live with your children. Mind your own business because of high blood pressure. I don't want that for you. She's that of person that doesn't go to their GP to MOT. Even the husband, they don't believe it. They don't go for that. You know what I mean by MOT, general, examination over them. So they are still like it. But the children, 6 of them, they are now in conformity with their mom, that they don't like their dad. Even the senior one is around 22, 23 now. They don't like their dad. So they always want their dad to be out of the house. And when he comes back at nighttime, anytime he comes back, the children will run away upstairs. Is that good? And so I won't allow that lady to leave. It's up to her if she wants to leave or send her husband out. I said no.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much. I'm going to go on to what you've said in a minute. Sister Kemsey, do you want to come in quickly?
Yes, sorry. Just want to ask the question regarding the lady that spoke now. You said your friend, you told her to mind her business and watch her kids and not to, think about what the man is doing.
Mm-hmm.
If the shoe was on another foot, would you advise the man the same thing? If it was the woman that was doing all that, would you have told the woman the same, given her the same advice?
Would you give the man the same advice to stay with the woman?
Yes.
That's the question to you, Ogosele.
Yeah, what? I can't hear you. That's
the question is the advice you are giving to the woman. Yes. If the case was the reverse, would you give the man the same advice to stick to the marriage and the patient and all that?
Well, I'm trying to work out both ways. Okay. Like I won't. If the man is my friend, I will always advise him to be patient, which I've been doing between 2 of them. Not that I will call the husband separate. I will call the wife separate and talk to them. So I won't say what your husband is good, what your husband has been doing is bad, and I won't tell the lady what you have been doing is bad. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma. I'm going to do a summary of this.
Does that answer my question?
Yes. Thank you very much. From what you've said, I'm going to do a summary because we're running out of time. And everybody have different opinion, and everybody have different belief and strong call on what should be and what should not be. Now, then the Bible says something that we should stick to marriage, and do our best to keep the marriage. And that is also coming on the side of what Big Chief is saying. And I also, one of the reasons why this program is to keep marriage together. Now, There's something the Bible also says that when things are toxic and things are getting difficult, you can take a break. It is not divorce. Okay, you can take a break when you're feeling choked. There are times people begin to lose it. You look at your partner, you feel like stabbing your partner. It gets that bad. You feel like strangling your partner. Now, when you begin to have such terrible feelings, it is dangerous to stay in that relationship. Now, you can step away, take a break for a while. When you're taking a break, you're not going into infidelity, but you're taking a break for your sanity. But at the same time, you're not giving up on your marriage and you're not giving up on your children. But for your sanity, you do not want to commit murder, you don't want to go that level, but you are already feeling like a murderer. You need to take a break before things get worse. Now, it's good to advise people like what Mommy Ogosele is doing, manage it, pray, be patient, overlook it. But then already there is a damage on the children.
Yeah.
Big damage.
Yes.
So I think you need to reevaluate your advice, ma'am. There is a damage already on the children, which is going to affect their choice of marriage. It's going to affect their marriage. Now, the female will be scared of marriage because they don't want to marry somebody like their dad. And in most cases, children like that end up marrying people like their dad. And they go through that same abuse. It becomes a circle. So it is okay to say, let's manage, let's take, let's fight, let's do. But then, who is being destroyed in the process? It's a big question. So if I am choosing myself and I want to stay in my marriage, and then I'm allowing my children to be destroyed, am I being a good mother or am I being selfish? That's a big question for us to ponder on. No, hold on, ma. Let me finish my thoughts. Well, I don't have a note. I'm just flowing. So when you're looking at that, so is it for the sake of my children? Now, I can decide, I may be able to manage the situation, but my children are suffering. Now, what is your life? What is your future when you do not have a legacy? Your legacy are your children. But right in front of you, they are being destroyed. So what step do you need to take? Now, I'm not saying that the very next step is leave. No. But you need to take some serious step. If you need to call families involved, you need to take steps that are serious, that the man will know, for my wife to have taken this step. Now, something is serious. Something needs to be looked at. You need to take the bull by the horn. Because that is your generation. That is your legacy. You will die, you will go. How will your children remember you? Like a lot of people have said in the comment that if they will live at all, they will live with their child because they believe they are the one that can look after their children better. Now, if there is an argument, it will end in court, like all the explanation that has gone on. But please, nobody asks you to bring these children to the world. So if you bring them to the world, you are responsible for them. God will ask you. That is your first assignment. God will ask you. The children are put in your hand and I made you the caretaker of them. What have you done with them? When we talk about choosing in marriage, you don't choose your children over your marriage because you were married before you had children. Okay, that is the truth of it. The children are a blessing that came with the marriage. Now, things have gone wayward, things have gone haywire, things have gone really, really bad. Decisions have to be made. Decisions have to be made. You need to tell yourself the truth. So, for me personally, I would choose my children first because that is my legacy. They will continue my lineage. Forget I'm a woman. They came through me. I am responsible for them. God will ask me question. Okay, so God will help us, all of us, but step needs to be taken. Thank you very much. Anybody wants to come in 1-2 seconds?
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that we all have individual characteristic, and I don't know what to say again, because there's a lot of people who are going through the same thing in different kind of ways. That my friend, spiritually, the husband mustn't leave the house. Spiritually, the husband doesn't have to live, but separate with that woman spiritually. I have been.
I'm going to pause you there very for quickly. Now, I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know the full details, and that is also dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you can also be manipulated with that.
Yes.
So one has to be careful. Now, this man should not leave. But what good is not leaving? What is he doing? Ask yourself that question. The man should not leave. He's staying. But of what good is the staying? Is he a covering for the family spiritually? I don't see that. He's destroying the children. He's destroying the wife. Is he an emotional cover? Is he a protector of the family? In all the areas where he should be the man and be the cover for the family, he has failed. So what is his purpose? So we need to go back into prayer and find out again, should he stay or not? Now, the Bible makes us to understand that prophecy will cease.
Yeah.
They can tell you prophecy, you will have twins tomorrow. Okay? But if along the line, before the tomorrow comes, you've done something to your body, it has affected your health, it has affected your ability to consume, not to consume, sorry, to take in, or you marry a man or a woman who is impotent, who cannot, that prophecy will go to nothing. So it is not the person who gave you the prophecy did not see right. But you have taken a step that has taken you away out of that prophecy. So let us be careful with prophecy and not destroy lives. So things need to be reevaluated. We need to go back into prayer and not tie people into bondage because there is a prophecy. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense.
Yeah.
God bless you, ma. The last person who is speaking, Brother Rennie, 2 seconds, sir.
There's so many circumstances around.
Brother Rennie, are you still there, or you're doing hello, hi? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Very, very loud.
Okay, yeah. I actually love your last point you raised. Now, sometimes when you're not there, you won't be able to get the full picture of the situation, things that are really happening within a home, within a marriage home. For this situation, I know she did mention that they have 6 children. 6 children is not one. I don't know if it's IVF they use in giving birth to those children. they slept together for those periods to have those number of children. And all of a sudden,
twins. Separate
2 twins.
Yeah.
Okay, so she had birth 3 times. That something happened. There was a relationship. There was something that was going on before things went south. But take us back to the Bible. When they asked Jesus about marriage, he said, in the beginning, it was not so. It has never been meant to be that way, right? It's just because of our selfishness. Yeah, the way humans are selfish. Like I keep talking to my wife and my friends. I say, look, people from the same family, the same mother, the same womb, they fight and they find a way to settle and move on. How much more somebody you meet along the way and you say, I love you. They are bound to be that friction. And when that friction comes along, find a way to resolve. Just like what Big Chief said, divorce is never and will never be an option, right? But when abuse comes in, when we say physical abuse that comes in, I know she did mention, someone made mention of emotional abuse, financial abuse. Yeah, there are things, emotional abuse, financial abuse, that can be worked upon. But when it becomes physical abuse, that's battery now comes inside to the male or to the female. Yes, there's a time that you need to step back, look at situation, call people, like you said, call family members to weigh in and get these things resolved. Sometimes when these things are discussed earlier, it's nip at the bud. But when you allow it to extend to a very long time, then it becomes an issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to say one or two things again. But Rennie said it, emotional abuse, financial abuse can be resolved. Is the physical one that should be really looked at. I beg to differ. Now, I have an auntie very close to me who went through emotional abuse here in UK. You know, she was supposed to be on the program tonight. And at some point, twice, she attempted suicide. She attempted suicide twice. She was not beaten, never beaten. It was all emotional, psychological abuse. She attempted suicide twice. So should she wait to that point? If she dies, the man moves on. If it's the other way around, if the man dies, the woman moves on. Life continues. So why should I die for a man? Why should any man die for a woman? So in as much as we want to remain married, we want to do the right thing and all that, let us borrow ourselves some sense. Let us borrow ourselves some sense. Is it worth it at the end of the day? Financial abuse. A man can steal from you, a woman can steal from you. So at some point you apply wisdom, maybe you change account, you try something, you know, so that to make sure they cannot steal from you again. But then they always come around again to steal and steal and steal. There is a limit to human endurance. We are all, our endurance level is different.
Yes.
So you need to find a way to work it out. We talk about spiritual abuse. Spiritual abuse is even the worst. What if you marry to somebody who is diabolical? Who is taking your name and they probably using all your glory or destiny, and they just want to render you useless and depressed and destroy you. You're going to stay in the marriage because he hasn't beaten me physically? Or you're going to run with your children? Run, change your, if you can change your DNA self, run, change your details, nobody should know where you are. Because that person is going to, I have also seen such a person physically in Nigeria. I think 2-3 years ago, I went to Nigeria. I had to speak to the lady. I said, listen, you will die if you do not step up. She was already on drug, taking injection. Sister Betty is online. She knows what I'm talking about. The man has finished her. She was a shell of herself. That is spiritual abuse. And by the time she came back to she would have just died in Nigeria if she had not listened to Sister Betty's advice and come to UK. She would have just died. So at what point do we hold on to this endurance? I'm going to read comment from, and then we're going to wrap it up. Pastor Stephen says, thank you for bringing in the God factor. All problems have a solution. It's a matter of, are we willing to take it to the throne, take it to God, and trust His direction, faith, and work. And I believe that works in two ways. You can have faith, you can take it to God. How about the other party? And Sister Kempsey says, try and make the program longer, man. 1 hour is not enough. Thanks for that. Then we'll continue. That's why we have a part 2, we have a part 3, and then we can extend it. But then people data, and because people also going to watch on YouTube later on. So let's not everybody that want to just stay on for so long and be watching and be watching and be watching. And Brother Rennie says, sometimes we need to look within ourselves for help. People have different upbringings and we need to keep learning Thank you very much for that. And that is part of what we're doing, learning, educating, helping ourselves, and as many will come across this program. It's been a wonderful night. We've gone past our time. God bless you all for joining.